Hey everybody, this is Jessica with Friday's edition of Mom Talk TV. I hope you all had a really good week. It's been snowing here so much, so we've been snuggling up and keeping warm and having a lot of very good fun family time, building snowmen and drinking lots of hot chocolate. Before I get into this week's topic, which is parenting challenges, I just want to take a second to really applaud the other moms on the channel. This is something that's not very easy to talk about. And when you put yourself out there, you put yourself out there with the possibility of judgment. And I think that the comments that you all have been leaving have been so kind and so supportive. So I applaud you as well. This is not a channel where we expect to be judged. Melissa said it very early on. It takes a village, and we need your support just as much as, just as much as we would love to give you our support. And they really put themselves out there, and some of it was really hard to watch, and it brought tears to my eyes. And I just want to say thank you to the other ladies on this channel, because I am so happy and I feel so lucky that I get to be part of this with you guys. So having said that, before I start getting choked up, let's dive into the topic. I want to talk about his challenge at present day, and also how I feel it started really at birth. Bobby's biggest challenge, and the one thing that has me flabbergasted and I don't know what to do, and I really feel like I've tried everything, he is extremely distracted at meal times. My son is very bright. He's very gregarious. He's very talkative. He has a fantastic vocabulary, and he is a chatterbox. So mealtime is a time for family to come together, and it is a time for us to talk about our day. Dad's not here for breakfast and for lunch, and when his dad's there, all he wants to do is talk, 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 talk. I don't want to take that away from him. So every once in a while, I'll say, okay, you got to take a bite break. Okay, stop talking and take a bite break. He will talk about anything and everything and do anything to avoid eating. Now, these are foods that he loves. I don't give him things that he will not like. I expect him to try everything, and he's very good about trying things. He doesn't just take a little tiny mouse bite. He'll take a bite of food, and 95% of the time he absolutely hates it, and I won't expect him to try any more of it. But he does have a good, he does have a very good range of foods that he does like. I know that he's getting enough nourishment, and that's the other thing too. I know that he is getting what he needs. My child will not go hungry. And that's something that I've said to myself thousands of times since he has been born, because he was the same way when he was a baby. He would squirrel in his cheek, and I don't know how this child could do this, but he would squirrel in his cheek, and his cheek would be big, and he could drink, his milk, and the food would just stay in his face, and he just wouldn't swallow it. He's been having food issues since he was really little, and I worry about it developing into something greater. There will be days when he will clean his plate and then ask for seconds. That's a very rare occasion, but it has been happening lately, and generally around that time, I know that I'm going to be retiring quite a few pairs of pants because he's growing out of them. He goes through really serious growth spurts. So some of the things that I have tried to help him, well, not really to help him, to help me get through a mealtime, is I don't put more on his plate. I don't put a lot of food on his plate. I don't want him to feel defeated as soon as he sits down at the table. I read somewhere that a very healthy expectation of what they should be eating and what they should be finishing. Although I'm not, don't make him a member of the Clean Plate Club. If he says that he's full, I want him to, be aware of his own body signals. But when it's time to eat dinner, it's time to eat dinner. I don't want him to get away with, no, I'm not going to sit down with my family because 45 minutes later, I'm just going to have a snack. I don't want him to get into that habit either. So a good habit is to offer 1 tablespoon of food for each year of his age. So he's 4 years old. He gets 4 tablespoons. He'll get 2 tablespoons of macaroni and cheese. He'll get a healthy, like a good few crowns of broccoli and maybe a couple of apple slices. He eats very balanced meals, and that's something that's important to me too. The thing behind this that I read in this book called Food Fights is if he doesn't eat his food, if he doesn't finish that, what are my cats getting into? If he doesn't finish those 4 tablespoons, that is what he can go back to as a snack. If he chooses not to finish, you say, okay, are you ready you're done eating? Yes, I'm done eating. We expect him to stay at the table with us until we are done eating. We're not done eating. You're not being excused yet, unless it's a special occasion and cousins are over or friends are over. Yeah, go ahead and go play. But when it's us, it's family time, and you're going to sit here with us until it's time to be done with food. And I feel that it almost went as far back as birth. Melissa and I know each other from a channel called The 5 Waiting Wombs. My husband and I did IVF to have Bobby. And being a mother was something I had wanted, but never so much as when I started dating my husband and knowing that we were going to spend the rest of our lives together. And when I got pregnant, one of the things that I look forward to the most was breastfeeding. I was on 3 months of bed rest. For the last trimester of my pregnancy, I was on bed rest, and I also had gestational diabetes. And it's so funny because people always say, like, I have such a great outlook on my pregnancy. I loved every single second of being pregnant. And my friend's like, dude, your pregnancy sucked. Your pregnancy wasn't a good pregnancy. I was preterm labor for 3 months. And in my head, I just looked at it as I have 3 months to do absolutely nothing but to enjoy this feeling. I didn't have to worry about getting the mail. I didn't have to worry about doing laundry. I didn't have to go to work. No food shopping. No nothing. I had this little being in my belly that I could talk to that we made. And one of the things that I talked to him about was feeding him and breastfeeding him. And I had my laptop. I did my research. I contacted La Leche League. They sent me literature, and I was ready. And he came 2 weeks early, and he was very terribly jaundiced. And the hospital really put a lot of pressure on me. I wouldn't say that they bullied. I could say that they bullied me, because when I told them on my birth plan, the very first line of my birth plan was, I am going to be a breastfeeding mother. First and foremost, I want to avoid nipple confusion. No bottles, no passies, nothing. My breast, only my breast. And he was very jaundiced. And when I said, well, I would like to continue to breastfeed, and they told me that if I did not supplement with formula, he was not going to get better, and therefore I would have to leave the hospital without him. Hello, I've been giving myself injections for years trying to have this child. I am not leaving without my baby. And when they say that to any mother, it doesn't have to be a mother that suffered through infertility, it's a scary thought. And if it can be avoided by relinquishing a little bit of your power, then in your eyes, it's okay with you. So I allowed them to bring me some formula, and I fed them. And of course, the nipple on the bottle looked absolutely nothing like a natural nipple. And so there it began. And I also had a lot of trouble producing milk. He had a hard time latching onto me, so my husband had to go and get a nipple guard for me from Toys R Us. My poor husband, talking to a saleswoman about nipples and shapes, and he said it was worse than buying tampons, but he did it, and he got the right one. And he was still hungry. Like, even after we beat the jaundice, I was still supplementing with formula until they told me to stop. And I never produced any milk. I think a lot of it had to do with the medication that I was on, and I'm sure that everybody will tell me that I'm wrong. I'm looking for some type of reason behind it. I was on Procardia. I was taking medicine to stop me from having contractions for 3 months. So for 3 months, I'm putting something into my body to stop me from having a baby that I feel like when I had my baby, my body didn't know, you know, what to do. I produced as much as I could, and for 8 weeks, I gave him everything that I could. We went and got the top of the line breast pump. The breast pump that I got from my baby shower, I was pulling maybe, I don't know, 11 ounces a day. And I attributed it to the breast pump that we got for our baby shower, and sent my husband out to go and get like the top of the line breast pump. We got a Medela, and you know, it's what hospitals use. And I put this thing on thinking that it was going to make any bit of a difference, and it didn't. I was still hardly pumping anything. I was making sure to keep my calories up. I wasn't, you know, doubled over with stress about it. Of course, I mean, sure, of course I was stressing about it, but I just wasn't producing any milk. I never became engorged. My breasts did not get tender in the least. It was like a typical, you know, a typical day. No tenderness. Not even like the tenderness that I experienced just before I get my period. Nothing. And I continued to pump. And I pumped and pumped and pumped, and my supply did not grow. My supply diminished pretty rapidly, that by the time he was 2 weeks old, I was only pumping about 2 ounces a day. And my husband basically begged me, please, I don't want you to keep doing this to yourself. I don't want you to do this. And, you know, and I was so upset, and I was so disappointed in me as a mother and my body, that I really felt, you know, not only had it betrayed me with infertility, and, you know, this is the ravings of a crazy, you know, hormonal just given birth woman, but my body betrayed me, and I couldn't conceive for us naturally, and now my body's betraying me again, and I'm really, really took it hard on myself, and I blamed myself. And then my husband stopped, and he looked at me, and he said, now, please understand, I have nothing against a mother that goes right to bottle. Okay? Nothing. I am passing absolutely no judgment. This is my experience. My husband stopped, and he looked at me, and he said, you have done everything that you possibly could do, taking blessed thistle, drinking milk to produce, drinking this tea to help me produce milk, everything I tried. My husband said, you have done everything in your power to give your son every ounce of what your body is capable of doing, what your body is capable of producing, and I did. And when he said that, he said, you're not defeated. This didn't defeat you. You gave it your very best shot, and we gave it a full 8 weeks. And that's what we did. And I still feel, I feel okay with my decision to have given up. But in the back of my head, and I didn't give up. I shouldn't say that. I didn't give up to strictly formula feed, because formula has not broken my son. Okay? My son's not broken. My son is very smart. He's very intelligent. I know that breast is best. I think that he is doing absolutely fine. He is one of the brightest kids that I know. So he is no worse for the wear, I guess you could say, from formula compared to breast. Me, on the other hand, I still struggle with it, that I wasn't able to. And I almost feel that, I don't know, like it was a foreshadowing of things to come with his eating habits, and I don't know how to explain it. My biggest concern is that I am creating food issues. So I guess that is it from me, you guys. I hope that you have a really great week and that you tune in next week. This was Brittany's suggestion, so I think this is a really appropriate thing to be talking about, being that next week is Valentine's Day and the week of amore and love, and we're talking about our men. We're talking about our fellas. We should call it Dad Talk TV. For next week, we should call it Dad Talk TV, talking about the wonderful men in our lives and our courtship and our dating, and just a story of amore, I guess you could say. I am such a nerd. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. Tell your friends about us, and if you have any suggestions for me or for any of the other moms, just leave them. And again, the comments that you've left on everybody's videos have just been so supportive, and I gotta say it again, I'm thankful to be part of this community. It's a community of women supporting each other, and let's refrain from tearing each other down and from bashing, and let's just keep this a very, very positive experience. And I think that we're well on the way to doing that. So have a great week again, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.